history. But, as I just said, the room for manoeuvre that the politicians have is actually very, very small. They're all promising that they want to renegotiate the terms of that bailout, but the economists that I've been speaking to are saying that, well, actually, that's not really possible. The deal that Ireland has is the deal that it's stuck with. I mean, perhaps the most important thing that these politicians can do over the next few years is actually just rehabilitate Irish politics in the eyes of the Irish public, because they're not very popular here at all. People are angry.
All right, Rory Chans there from Dublin. Ireland's economy and others may see growth hurt by rising oil prices because of the situation in Libya. Brent crude oil prices, for example, in London are now up by more than $2 to $113.44 a barrel. Well, Bangladesh's garment sector produces billions of dollars worth of clothes every year. In the process, it generates tons of fabric offcuts. But they're not all going to waste. Nicholas Huck reports.
Tahid's rugs are in high demand. 3 million people in Germany alone own rugs like these, all made from recycled scraps. It's when he walked past a garment factory and saw the spread of color that he found the inspiration to turn small scraps into big rugs.
These are knit clippings from knit factories. Every knit factories who are producing t-shirt, polo shirts, they have approximately 5% wastage from the cutting table, and people use them for different things. We make rugs out of them.
Bangladesh is well known for its garment industry that supplies clothes sold by the world's largest retailers. In the process, these factories generate more than 100,000 tons of leftover material. This has created a booming recycling industry. A kilo of these scraps cost 50 cents. Businessmen from neighboring China and India buy tons of them to make mattresses or socks. This is where Tahid sources the scraps for his rugs, and these women here are going through leftover t-shirts and shirts from the nearby garment factory that has just delivered this upcoming summer season collection. So Tahid doesn't get to choose the color of his rugs, but he's pretty sure that they'll be in fashion. He employs more than 500 women. They use traditional tools and techniques to weave the scraps together. It takes 45 minutes to turn recycled rags into a rug.
Every month we recycle 110 metric tons of scrap fabric, and we make rugs like this one.
With keen interest from retailers in China, his recycling business is rapidly expanding. His rugs are already being sold in Germany for just $4, and the orders keep coming. Nicholas Hawk, AlJazeera, Rangpur, Bangladesh.
And now, roaring off to space for the very last time.
2, 1. Booster ignition and the final liftoff of Discovery. A tribute to the dedication, hard work, and pride of America's space shuttle team. The shuttle has cleared the tower.
The final mission to the final frontier, the shuttle Discovery, launching off from Kennedy Space Station into a Florida sky there. Well, it's on an 11-day mission to supply the International Space Station. Shuttle spotters, though, will get just 2 more chances to view a liftoff. Endeavour and Atlantis will make their final flights by June before NASA retires the aging shuttle fleet. Well, stay with us here on Al Jazeera. More coming up. This is Al Jazeera, and these are the stories making the headlines now. Residents in Libya's second-largest city of Benghazi claim new photos show mercenaries hired by Muammar al-Gaddafi to crack down on protesters. The embattled leader is blaming al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden for the uprising against him. It was Gaddafi's second address to the nation, but this time by phone. Libya's capital, Tripoli, remains locked down, but more video is emerging of how much control Muammar al-Gaddafi has lost in the east. Protesters have been showing journalists what they've managed to seize in the city of Shahat. The US president says the violent crackdown on protesters is indecent, but Barack Obama has stopped short of announcing direct action against Gaddafi. The crisis in Libya is continuing to affect global oil prices. The world's top oil exporter, Saudi Arabia, is trying to reassure concerned countries. It says it'll step in to fill any shortfall. And while that's eased concerns somewhat, the price per barrel for London Brent crude is still above $113 a barrel. Iraq's government has imposed a curfew in Baghdad before planned demonstrations later on Friday. Prime Minister Noor al-Maliki is urging people not to take part, warning they could be attacked by al-Qaeda. Thousands of people unhappy with the performance of their new government are expected to rally. Rescue teams are continuing to scour the rubble after a powerful earthquake in New Zealand. The threat of aftershocks is hampering the operation. 113 people are known to have died, but some 200 are still missing. Hopes are fading of finding more survivors. The United Nations says it will extend its mandate for peacekeepers in East Timor for another year. The Security Council says its personnel will stay on to help local police strengthen the credibility. Toyota is recalling more than 2 million vehicles in the United States. It's the latest safety scare involving the world's #1 car maker. Well, this time it's to address accelerator pedals that could become trapped in floor mats. Toyota has now recalled more than 14 million vehicles globally since 2009. It faces dozens of lawsuits from owners. Boeing has beaten Airbus to a $35 billion contract with the U.S. Air Force. Pentagon officials say Boeing would be awarded an initial $3.5 billion to design and deliver refueling tanker jets.
The protests in Libya are continuing, and the Libyan leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi is struggling to hold on to power. Many parts of the country under the control of pro-reform protesters, many now fearing a violent showdown. But in a country divided by tribes, alliances and clans, it is difficult to draw the outlines of a future battle. Who exactly are the groups that are holding the future of the country in their hands? And how long can the Libyan leaders survive? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Anand Naidu. Let's start by taking a look at Libya's military. The army makes up 2/3 of Libya's military, but it's largely a symbolic force, numbering around 50,000. They're not very well trained or equipped. In fact, Gaddafi has tried to keep the military divided in order to prevent a coup, which is how he himself came to power in 1969. It's highly unlikely that changes in the conventional military allegiance would affect him. Most observers feel they hold only limited power. Instead, ultimate power lies in the hands of a network of paramilitary entities, estimated at around 40,000, the so-called People's Militia. It reports to Gaddafi's revolutionary committees. Then there is the Revolutionary Guard, a roughly 3,000-strong elite corps responsible for the regime's and Gaddafi's security. Add internal security. The regime has used this force to repress dissent and the growth of the opposition. Then there are the tribes. It's believed that the three largest and influential tribes in Libya are the Ben Salim tribe in Cyrenaica, Beni Hilal in western Libya, and the Magarha tribe, which has the strongest ties to Gaddafi. And finally, there are the mercenaries. Gaddafi's regime has been making extensive use of hired African mercenaries.